Hey there, everyone. It's Jen, the board game librarian, and I'm joined as always by my husband, Matt.
Hi, everybody.
The dice chucker. And together we are the literary gamers. Today, we're talking about our favorite G games. Not rated G games, necessarily.
I don't know if we have any of those.
We definitely have... No, I'm not going to say that. Okay, all right.
Before we begin, Jen and I are starting kind of a campaign of our road to 1,000 subscribers. Part of Rate the Collection is going to fall into the road to 1,000 subscribers here, so make sure you like, subscribe, do all the fancy stuff you usually do when you watch a YouTube video. So some of these are going to be released as we move through the campaign to get us to 1,000, so help us out, and you'll get more of this series.
Yeah, we think everyone that has been watching the Rate the Collections tend to be the most popular, so that's awesome. I'm going to start off our 15 games for G with an old classic of ours that we've had forever, and that is Guillotine. And I think this is Wizards of the Coast?
Wizards of the Coast. I can't remember the designer, though.
Paul Peterson.
Oh, okay.
I think. Smash Up, yeah. 7.625. So this is one of the ones we've had forever. We don't play it like we used to.
No, but we like to stop at a certain point in the night playing games.
Yep.
So that's usually 9 p.m. for us. So if it's like 8:40 and we don't want to quit early, Guillotine's a great one to just pull out, shuffle the cards, set up the line, and go.
I always try to get the nun. I call her the bad nun.
Oh, she is the bad nun on the card.
She is the bad nun?
Yeah.
I forgot.
It's the piss boy, too.
It's
talking about G-rated games. This is not a G-rated game.
Yeah, if you expected that Matt and I were G-rated too, you might want to check someone else out. This is one that we've taught to your mom.
Yeah, we've taught it to a lot of people.
And I think, people like laughing at the artwork.
This very tongue-in-cheek. Yes, it's dealing with a very serious issue, but it has parodied the issue as much as this issue has been parodied in history already. Mel Brooks comes to mind right away.
Oh, God.
So if you try to take the game seriously, you're not going to have fun.
No.
If you just take the game as, the quirky as much as the artwork is quirky, you're going to have a good time.
There's even a Let Them Eat Cake card.
Yep.
It's very, very, very tongue-in-cheek. After the end of 3 days, you are collecting your points. You want to have the most of X, Y, and Z. And
you're putting a bunch of French nobles in a line during the French Revolution. And the whole mechanic of the game is, at the end of your turn, you take somebody in the line, and that's the person you've collected from the executions. But the line can be messed up by other players and other cards you play. Sometimes the line can be reversed. Extra Cart is one of my favorite cards because it just makes the line a little bit longer.
I do like that.
So, yeah, a fun little game.
All right, that is Guillotine at number 15.
Our number 14 is Ghost Stories at a 7.75. Ghost Stories has been considered a classic for many by now. They just came out with the most recent edition, which is called Last Bastion. It is more of a fantasy style, defend the castle type of thing, than it is just trying to eradicate all these ghosts from, is it a Japanese village?
I believe it's a Japanese.
But yeah, I mean, this has a lot of really great mechanics to it. The problem is we had a hard time deciphering the rulebook for some reason, this one, and you really do need to be playing all 4 characters to get anywhere, because the dummy player idea is it just gives the ghosts more of an advantage.
So, cooperative game, Antoine Bauza, Repos Productions, I believe. Matt likes this game vastly more than I do. You've played it solo, correct?
I have, yep. Played it as all 4 people solo.
And have you won solo?
No, I have not won this game at all.
No, and we haven't won it together either. I feel like it's one that every time we go to sit down and play it, I have to relearn the symbology, and it drives me bonkers.
That's, I think, where Last Bastion fixed it a little bit, because I got a chance to play that with Larry.
Oh, good. I love the theme. I think the theme is really cool. The ghosts, the artwork is really dynamic.
Also not a G-rated game, based on the artwork alone.
Yeah, some of it's a little risque.
And gory.
Yeah. I
rated this one higher than you did.
Yes, that's fine. I mean, if you're playing it solo, the likelihood of me doing that is 0. But, and that's okay. I think we play it more like Halloween time.
Yep.
And it could just be that's why we don't remember how to play it, because we play it so infrequently. You should really be the one to talk about number 13.
I want to hear what you have to say about it. So, I want to hear you describe it first.
So, I think in our C video, we talked about classic games. And we kind of did a little that there's going to be other classic games on this list. So, this one is Go at a 7.75. So
we don't know the designer of this.
No, we don't. So Matt had watched the Shut Up and Sit Down review of this, and I think fell in love with the game, and bought a tiny little travel size edition. I'm looking around
to see. Orange bin right on top.
Orange bin. Hey, Stonewall. Little tiny travel one to see if we liked it, and Matt likes it.
Breaks my heart, folks.
There's almost never a time when I won't say to Matt, I'm not going to play a game with you. And even though I'm not a huge fan of Go, and now I can't get this to close, we're just going to do that. It's okay. I will play it with him. I'm terrible at it. He sits down and practices with it. He plays there's an app on Android that he plays. So he's got a ton more experience than I do. Abstract games in general, just I'm finally warming up to chess.
It took a TV show for that to happen.
Well, maybe we need a TV show about Go.
Oh, it'll be long.
It will be long. I'm still personally at a 9x9 portion. You've done 13x13s
and 19x19
when you're practicing and on your phone. I got him some really awesome looking containers and chips for Christmas because I know how much he loves it. So I'm a good wife, at least. Wifey points?
Of course.
So tell them why you like Go, Matt.
Go is really... There's so many layers to it, and it's still one of the hardest games I have to teach. The concepts are fine. You're going to put a stone down, and the 4 surrounding points are your points. But you also have to start carving out territories of your own, and then the other person can start invading your area, and when things get too heated, do you leave that alone and go over and start working on something else you've been doing? Go just has this... It's one of those games where you're really... I feel engaged. I know you don't. The whole time.
I just start throwing stuff out there.
She plays Speed Go, and then she wonders why she loses, was it 48-2? One of the games over our marathon?
Yeah, that's... we all know... Yes. The problem is that I tend to... Oh, up close and personal, huh? That I tend to go after Matt's places instead of carving out my own sections. I'm always on his you-know-what there. And that's why I don't get any points. It's also because I'm playing really fast, too.
She oftentimes will... she'll put chips down right next to mine. And unknowingly, what you're doing is you're carving out an interior space. The problem is you're letting me carve out every single exterior space on the board. And you're like, I must have so many points. You have not so many points.
No. Nope. So that's Go.
Yeah. I could talk about it all day, but I won't. So. Our number 12 is a fun little trick-taking game called Gorus Maximus. It's got a theme of gladiators in the Colosseum, and you have different schools of gladiators, and the school is the trump suit for that round. Until you play, I believe it's the same value,
I think
but
so.
a different school, then the school shifts to that one. So this is a trick-taking game where trump shifts throughout the whole thing. It's like, well, you play a game of, is it spades? And there is a specific trump suit. And you get the same feeling in Fox in the Forest, right? The trump suit switches constantly depending if the foxes are being played. I think that's the card that does it. But with Gorus Maximus, the way every card you play has all these point values from 0 to -4 to 5, and I always get stuck with the -4 at the end. So really engaging.
We discovered, I think, maybe, gosh, was it Indulgence or Diamonds?
One Gen Con, Indulgence, Diamonds, and Fox in the Forest was purchased at once, and we discovered that we really liked trick-taking games. And
I love that Gorus Maximus can be played at 2, and it plays really well at 2.
Yes.
I think, I forget, it goes all the way up to 6, maybe?
I believe so.
But I love the dynamic at 2 players because you're really reading each other and trying to deduce what the other person has in their hand.
I believe it's Quanchai did the art, didn't he?
I think so. Quanchai Moria
designed this one.
It's Inside Up Games, and I think it might have been Corey.
Okay. If that's incorrect, we'll fix that right here.
Or I'll edit it out. The artwork on this is not for everyone. No. It is definitely gladiators in the arena.
Yep.
There's some fantastical...
It doesn't sugarcoat it.
No. Again, really dynamic artwork. But it's not going to be for everyone.
Right. Yeah.
But I agree. A very delightful trick-taking game.
And Inside Up Games, I love your products, but why are your boxes so difficult to open? Please make it a little easier.
They definitely don't fall. Like, if you were to drop it, the top would never fall off.
Never gonna fall off,
So that is a positive. Our number 11 game, we have some hard feelings about. And we got over it. No, maybe not. I don't know. At one point, this was way higher on all of our lists. And that's a Game of Thrones LCG. So yes, we were amongst those people who went all in on the first edition. We had all of the things. Loved it. Knew there were problems with terminology and too much stuff.
Especially as the game grew.
Yeah, it was a lot. I loved playing the Martells. That was my group. And I think I've said before, I just go with the prescribed decks. I'm not a deck builder like that. So this was a 7...
I'm surprised you don't like Keyforge as much.
I do. I think it's just because I don't win it.
Oh, gotcha.
This is 7.875 Fantasy Flight Games. So the redo on it,
it was fine.
We like it.
Yeah.
We puttered out after a while in terms of getting, just because we don't play it as much. I think the artwork change was very good.
We still feel burned a little bit because we don't want to rebuy everything we already bought.
And Matt also does not like that I build a wall.
The second edition helps with that. It really does. So in the first edition, Jen was just building walls of people, and now this edition helps with that. Now, of course, it is a Fantasy Flight game with a lot of small rules, so if there was something in first edition that stopped you from building a wall, I missed it. So that's number 11, Game of Thrones LCG. Now, we do not own a Game of Thrones, the board game, because it usually needs 3-player minimum, and that's just not something that happens here. It's the same reason I celebrated the fact that Dune Imperium was a thing, because I really wanted to like Dune, the board game. But even though the Gale Force 9 edition says 2 players, it's always been said you need 4 to make it enjoyable. Now, if that's incorrect, let me know in the comments. But yeah, that's why a Game of Thrones is not on the list. Number 10 was one of the most deceptively evil games we were ever shown, and this is the Grimm Forest.
Druid City Games?
Druid City Games, Tim Eisner. I almost said Michael Eisner, but it's Tim Eisner. And this is it's the Grimm fairy tales, and you're the 3 little pigs. You're trying to build 3 houses. You're doing it by trading in resources, but you also can be stealing resources from other people, or tearing bits of their house down, or throwing monsters on their... Yeah. Was it the dragon just destroys a house if you have it? It's just such a deceptively evil game because it looks adorable, right? The first player token is a book.
I know. It was the first time ever opening a game that I said, I'm going to paint a mini. I haven't done that yet. But I want to paint that book mini because it's a book mini.
If you haven't discovered it, and I'm sure by looking on the internet you found it already, if you own Grimm Forest and you haven't lifted up the insert, do yourself a favor and lift up the insert, because this was the first game where I discovered that publishers often hide specials under inserts.
Yeah.
So, a lot of fun, and even the 2-player variant I don't mind. That's where you had the dummy player with the dice. That's fine. I think it works fine. But it's just, and it takes you back, too. There is a slight hint of nostalgia in here, but it's not overplayed. It's personal. Like, you might not have that nostalgia, but for those who grew up, especially during the Disney Renaissance, this game really, kind of hits it home.
Mr. Coddington artwork, I believe, 7.875. We were shown this by fellow Dice Tower contributor Jason Perez of Shelf Stories, and it's a racing game too of sorts, where you're racing to build a certain amount of houses. We played Grimm Masquerade and did not care for it at 2 players.
No, a lot of people have said that's another one that really needs to be a party game.
And
it has some neat stuff in it, but it's a party game.
No one's having parties right now, so
explains why it was clearance in Barnes & Noble that time.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's quite delightful. It's cheerful, but when I tell people about this game at the library, I do say, there is some take that in here, so you can't necessarily be upset because the game does encourage the stealing of the resources, the trading of the heroes.
This is more take that than we just learned Unfair, which a lot of people have complained to being is way too take that. I would say this is more take that than Unfair is.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Now, before we go on to number 9, because I know that's you, I just want to say that from number 9 and up, these are all 8s and above. These are all games that I don't think we would ever tell you no if you wanted to play it.
Correct.
So, take it away.
Number 9 should be one that you are really talking about more, and that is The Great War by PSC Games. At an 8, as Matt said, it is Richard Borg's Commands and Colors series in the World War I. We don't have a super lot of World War I games. There
aren't many to begin with.
There aren't many to begin with that are not...
Right, there's not many mainstream ones.
Correct, that are not like Paths of Glory, GMT,
that's
Complexity.
A heavy one.
Yeah. And World War I always gets so overshadowed by World War II in terms of books, movies, games as well. I enjoy it.
So what this one does is you have trenches in this one, but what's really kind of neat is before the game even begins, you have to actually roll dice to bombard no man's land, and you could put craters out, and might be all sorts of other things out there, but just the thematic fact that the artillery is going to go off before you even start, and then you have the way the artillery works in the game where you have this kind of template, and it hits in the zones around it. It's really kind of neat. It's very difficult to take out units because you're pretty much in the trenches, and if you get out of the trenches, you've got a big target on your face, and it's not fun for anybody. They did really great job in capturing the feel of the First World War or the Great War, whichever way you want to talk about it.
Yeah.
The stuff is easier to get now. It was a little tricky maybe 2 or 3 years ago, but it's a little easier now to get it from some of your local game stores.
We'd gotten this in New York City in June 2019 at the it was the Commons, I think.
No, it was Complete Strategist.
Oh, yes.
We got, and I was so happy. I found not anymore. I found the Secrets of Mad King Ludwig at the Commons.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I was so excited, and now it's like, do I back it?
I think this might be the most complex
Yes.
Commands and Colors game that we have, and we do, as you've seen, have a variety of them. But very enjoyable.
Yeah. So number 8 is a game that a good friend of ours, Larry, had a chance to go out to the Gamma Trade Show, and he texted me. He goes, "You've got to play this game. I'm going to bring it home with me." And this is Godtear, which is listed as an 8. This is Steamforged Games. I do not know the designer. I'm very sorry. This is where it's a skirmish game, basically. You're choosing 2 or 3 kind of warbands, and you're trying to get points, but you're not doing that by always killing the other units. Sometimes it's just by area control. Sometimes it's by there's the blue is there's 2 different ways you can score from area control and 2 different ways you can score from unit elimination. But the coolest thing about this is there's this track on the side, and it's a tug of war. So if you get points in one time and the other person gets points, it's going to come back this way, and whoever's side that point tracker is on is who gets the point for the round, and the first to 5 points wins. I definitely recommend that if you want a quick game of this, play it only with 2 warbands. If you want the full game, it's a little bit longer, but you'll play with 3. And each color mini has a different thing that it specializes in. Really neat, and there are some situations where the objectives on the board will either grow or shrink depending on the scenario you've picked.
So the first time we sat down and played this, Matt was like, "We'll learn as you go."
It's not the easiest game to explain.
No, and it's not. That is very fair. And we played with 3.
Probably should have done just 1.
That's okay. So we play with 2 warbands now, which is fine. That's like a good comfort zone for me. I think if you were going to play with Larry or Mike, you would play with 3, which is fine. But I love how many female choices there are in this game. That is not just all like male-dominated warbands.
So the new Shield Maiden we got recently is just a tank.
Yep. So props to Steamforged Games for that. Really excellent mini quality.
Yeah. These are ones I could probably throw against a wall and they'd be fine.
Yeah. I like it. I don't have much more to say about Godtear than Matt does. Our number 7 is also one that we have a really super soft spot, and probably one we will never get rid of. We love
another World War I game.
Oh, it is another World War I game. Whew. And that's the Grizzled. CMON Games 8.125. And that's like the Grizzled and then Armistice like smooshed together. Because there are different games. We bought the Grizzled almost right away when it came out. And so when you're talking about very different experiences but capturing kind of the same emotion, the Grizzled and the Great War do that, but you finish playing the Grizzled and it's heavy. It's a sense of doom, you feel.
The characters you play are real people, or were real people who served in the war.
I love, so kind of, you can't talk about the cards in your hand. There's all kinds of wounds that you can get as well.
One of them makes you not talk.
Correct.
So.
Another one that I don't think we've ever won before.
We got close once.
Yep. It's just so punishing. And another, when I'm talking to people at the library about this game, because it's a hard sell, this one, I think. I talk about the artist as well, who was one of the people that was killed in the Paris newspaper attacks, like right after this game came out. So I'm like, there's another layer of complexity going on with this game. That not only are they real people, but like the artist suffered a horrific tragedy as well. It's the Grizzled. It's
I understand that, and somebody actually said to me once, next time we get together, and this was at a convention, please bring the Grizzled, because I've read the rulebook a number of times and I can't figure out how to play. Definitely do yourself a favor, find a video online that tells you how to play, because the rulebook is a little rough. Yeah. Maybe they fixed it up because we have the one all the way from 2015.
I think
so. Yeah. Do yourself a favor, if you're having troubles, just go and find a video. From the heavy to the ridiculous, number 6 is Galaxy Trucker at an 8.25. This is a Vlaada Chvátil game, Czech Games Edition. This is, you are a Galaxy Trucker, and you're picking up stuff. Is probably the only pick up and deliver game we like.
Yeah.
That's stretching the term pick up and deliver. You basically are building your ship with one hand with connections, and the single or double are the universal ones, and you only have so many minutes, depending on which round it is, to build the ship, and then it's off to the races. Go get the stuff, and all the bits are just fantastic. I mean, they're talking about those little astronauts, those aliens, the little glass batteries in there, and even if you're puttering into the depot with your stuff, you'll still score something, and whoever has the best looking ship at the end of the round gets a bonus. Just asteroids come and hit you. I know that's a problem people have, but it's just fun. You know, the game's only going to last 45 minutes to an hour at most. You get raided by space pirates. So it's always great when you turn over that card and it's either picking up goods or just open space. And I'm like, oh, thank God.
Yes, you definitely have to take this game with a sense of ridiculousness.
Do yourself a favor, read the rulebook. I just told you to be wary of the rulebook on the Grizzled. Read the rulebook for Galaxy Trucker. It's hilarious.
It's very tongue-in-cheek and punny. You know, I've had times where I've gone, my ship! Like, been yelling. And just like, you know, you're pulling tiles and just picking up and dropping them so quickly. And then the sand timer runs out and I look at my ship and there's like
3 tiles on it.
3 tiles on it because I'm looking for the perfect connection. And of course, I was being an idiot and wasting my time. Yes, and I think there's even at the level 3 you can be the Enterprise. Yeah,
it's on the opposite side of level 3 is they don't claim it is, but it's the obvious outline of the Enterprise, and the symbol in the middle is that it's just enough to not be copyright infringement.
Yeah. There's also like a little short novella that someone had wrote that goes along with the Galaxy Trucker. I think we have it upstairs, maybe.
Yeah, but Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy just goes well with Galaxy Trucker when you're thinking about books and games.
Yep. A definite fun one. Number 5 is a modern classic, and that is El Grande by CMON Games. We have the big box edition. Woo-wee! At an 8.5. We got this as part of a buy one get one free deal at a I can't remember.
They don't think they saw us coming. They're like, buy one get one free. So we picked up El Grande Big Box and Caverna and basically walked away with a $100 game for free.
Yes, it was awesome, and both are still in our collection.
Yep.
And amongst our top 5 of both letters. I love that I can play pink. This is very important, folks.
The simple things in life.
It is the simple things. And I love that I've really come along in this game where Matt loves area control, is really good at it, and I beat him now.
You're getting better.
I am.
It's time to play Mexico.
No. No. Or Cusco. No, I won the Cusco.
You won Cusco, but it still looked like both of our brains hurt after that one.
Yes. That's a total aside. But El Grande is magnificent. I think the mechanics still shine and its simplicity.
I still consider it probably king of area control.
Yeah,
because you really do have to read the other players so well with the cards that you're playing for initiative. How many? Sure, you might not have any the caballeros in your court, but you want to go first, but you're not going to be doing anything, so you have to kind of sacrifice that to. It's just. Is this Kramer and Kiesling?
I think it's Kramer. I'll keep talking while you kind of pull that out. It's right behind us. We've played, a couple of the expansions. It's Wolfgang Kramer.
Kramer and Ulrich. It's fantastic.
A couple of the expansions. I think
beats Classic, though.
No, nothing beats Classic. Here we have this big box that we made off with. But I do love El Grande. And it's pretty easy to set up, too.
Yeah, not much to it, especially because the big box has such an excellent insert.
Yes.
And the board locks into the insert, so if you shake it around, nothing really moves that much.
I should get El Grande for the library in my next...
Okay.
Making a list, folks. People are going to be upset about number 4.
So... There's a reason for it, and I feel like that we need to kind of talk about it. Number 4 is Gloomhaven, and this is an 8.5. Gloomhaven, and this is not Jaws of the Lion. This is still original Gloomhaven. We have not played Jaws of the Lion yet. Gloomhaven was a game that I really loved for a while, and then we had a Gloomhaven night set up. Wednesday nights was Gloomhaven night, but then something with my job stopped us from doing it, because by the time I would get home, it's like, do we really want to play a scenario of Gloomhaven? And so we just never picked it up again, but we got the broken token, and one day we will finish it. I think that it's mechanically one of the best dungeon crawls out there. Not app assisted.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, Imperial Assault and
Mansions of Madness is just so well done.
Mansions of Madness. Yeah. I have conflicting feelings about Gloomhaven. And when I said I refused to play Jaws of the Lion and we did not go in on Frosthaven was because we haven't finished Gloomhaven. And you'll hear us say this more and more. Campaign games and us, we have great intentions. Although I think on Undaunted, we're almost there.
We did 8 out of the 12 in Undaunted Normandy.
Yes, folks. Great intentions, and then we just...
Yeah.
I retired a character.
I did not.
My thief.
Yes, you had the thief.
And your brute. What the heck did you name your brute?
I don't remember.
Oh, geez, that's how long ago it's been. But she was Scarlet, and his brute.
No, she was Emerald because she was green.
That's right, Emerald. Jeez, this is how long it's been. Emerald and his brute had a love affair going on. And then when I brought the Spellweaver in, it was like really awkward.
So the interesting thing is when you played as the thief, you used to be able to just run into the dungeon and just start stabbing things. And when you played as the spellcaster and your health was so low, I was like, okay, you need to promise me that you're not going to run in. I'm the brute. Let me handle that while you cast the spells from far away.
I don't like that. I gotta work at it. I don't like it.
But one day we will finish Gloomhaven.
Yeah.
Don't know when, but we will do it.
We just
we get to 1,000 subscribers, folks. We'll start Gloomhaven back up.
Bribery. I mean, there were.
Here's my butthole.
Oh God. Yeah, we talked about not being G-rated over here. Here's a cat's rear end. At one point, you were like, "I like this more than Lord of the Rings," and I was like, "No." no! And I was like upset about this.
Well, I was going to say it gave me a different story each week, while War of the Ring was constantly the same thing over and over again.
That's fair.
But I do still enjoy War of the Ring a lot.
Okay, good.
Wow.
On that note, again, another game, we should have looked at this list before we started talking. Number 3 is The Godfather, Corleone's Empire, CMON Games, 8.5, and Eric Lang design. I think an underrated Eric Lang design. Why don't you talk about this one?
This is Lords of Waterdeep for people who want the Mafia game. There's a lot of really neat mechanics in this. Basically, you're doing jobs for the Dawn. You can either send your thugs to the front of the store and get the resource, or the family member into the back of the businesses to shake up the joint. And you're putting... Because you have to pay tribute to the Dawn, so you have this hand of cards, which are combined with resources, jobs, and money. And at the end of the round, you have to discard down to a certain number. And if you've got money in your hand, and that's all that's there, and you have to discard down, you're basically throwing money away to the Dawn. So you have this little metal briefcase you're storing cards in that don't matter. And sometimes people can go into your briefcase and steal money. Extortion's a big one. You can car bomb people, and you can take the cannoli, where you can start shooting up other people on the board.
Yep.
And the smallest piece of theme made the biggest difference for me is that when somebody gets gunned down, you actually put them in the Hudson River on the board, because it's New York. And when you're playing with the full 5, there's just this pile of people in the river.
Yep.
This game is underrated. I think that, and a lot of people have championed it. Yet still, it tends to be a game that flies under the radar.
I think at one point it ended up at TJ Maxx of all places, probably because there was overstock and there was like a ridiculously low price on it.
Yeah.
I think there had been an issue right when it came out, where someone had said that they were broke. This is the one with the broken.
Oh yeah, somebody had made a comment to another designer about how broken something was, and the designer, not Eric Lang, was another designer, basically wrote this blog about how, we need to stop saying things like this is broken. These are not games that just, we sneeze out and
yeah,
put
it was
out
like Nazi
there.
Trevachak.
Okay.
Wasn't it?
I don't remember.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And just kind of, don't kind of just push aside the fact that there has been great care put into these games. And that kind of left some people a little salty, and the game just kind of disappeared. Now, I think that this game would have seen more success if it was a limited Gen Con release and then a retail release months later, like they did with Blood Rage.
Interesting.
Yeah, I know Blood Rage was a Kickstarter, but they released it at Gen Con, and the buzz was allowed to grow. With Godfather, the buzz kind of grew for a week and a half, and the game was out.
Yeah.
This is an excellent game, and if you get a chance to try it, please do. I royally messed up a rules teach on this once, and people still had a good time.
Yeah. Well, I think the group of people that we were playing with, too, are pretty forgiving. They're not those people. But
they were getting into it.
Yeah, I mean, you have to get into it, too.
Not as bad as Adrian Brody's accent in Peaky Blinders. But...
he watched The Godfather.
That's what he did to prepare for that role. Sorry, Adrian, if you're watching.
So what Matt is not saying is about his family's mafia.
My family had some history with the mafia, so
in Massachusetts.
But we'll move on.
We won't talk about that.
We will move on.
And I've never held a cat and petted it like that either. You are next.
I am next. Now, this game can only go up. Number 2 is Great Western Trail at 8.5. And the reason I say that is because we rated this before we got a chance to play the expansion. When the game was in a distribution lock in the United States due to some unpleasantness, the expansion also went out of print for a bit. We just got the expansion, last week? We just have not had the time to try it yet.
Yeah, pretty recently.
So, Great Western Trail is 8.5 now. This is Alexander Pfister, and this is Eggertspiele.
Yep.
And I have the folded insert for it, folded space insert, and it's lovely.
We haven't played this in a little bit, I think, because we were waiting for the expansion.
It's right there in the shrink wrap.
It is. Oh, it's so nice. Oh. I love this game. This game hates me, though. And it's
a deck builder?
It's a deck builder, but it's a racing
an economic game. Pseudo stock game. Some people say that you can treat the railroad section as a stock idea.
It's got lots of things I like in it. And I'm trying to zoom along, but I like stopping at all the stops. We talked about this before, I think.
And here comes Matt going where he needs to and keeps knocking off the employees that you want to buy. I'm sorry.
I still have not won.
You won once.
Was that a real win, though?
That's a real win.
Okay. Sometimes when I'm sad and I really come in and I'm like, oh, that was really that bad. Matt fudges a number. And he's like, oh, you won.
You won.
No, I did not.
Yeah, you did.
I appreciate that you do that.
You're having a bad day.
I'm a big girl.
But you're having a bad day.
Game for vegetarians over here about selling cows.
We don't know what happens to them. We're just transporting them, okay?
We're the engineers that just... Yep.
Those are happy cows.
They're happy cows. Well, on that happy cow note...
I get that. There was a Laszlo from What We Do in the Shadows. All of a sudden you hear the sound. I do find it funny. I say it's the greatest racket in the cow distributing industry, where you sell your cows in Kansas City and they all magically reappear back in your deck when you head back down at the beginning.
Those Jersey cows.
Anyway, Great Western Trail 8.5, and like I say, this game can only go up, but I mean, it doesn't have far to go.
Yeah.
Because number one...
Number one is Grand Austria Hotel by Godtear. I think, is it the version?
By what? Lookout Games.
Lookout Games, formerly Mayfair production, at an 8.5.
The Mayfair one.
We have the Mayfair version.
Mainly because when it went out of print, when Mayfair went out, you were hounded down a copy.
I did. I did. We love this game so much. I stopped at Maple Realty, not
yes.
Maple
Realty.
Maple Realty, Gen Con,
Maple Source.
Maple Source. Okay, whatever.
One of the two.
Whatever it was, and we bought the upgraded bits because...
I was done feeding my people cubes.
Come on.
They deserved better.
They did. They deserved better desserts and wine and coffee. Only the best in this house, okay?
Well, what's funny is because when you look in the rule book, and some of the cards actually say when you use coffee or tiramisu, and I'm like, which one is coffee and which one's tiramisu again? I can't remember.
Shade of brown is this one?
We wanted to like Lorenzo El Magnifico so much, but we were just so in love with Grand Austria Hotel that game never even touched.
Yeah, I think
Lorenzo.
This is our favorite CMON Luciani. I feel like we've gotten other games of theirs, and they seem like...
The only different one I would say is Marco Polo.
Yes.
I think that's him, isn't it?
Oh, let me look while you keep talking.
I'm going to keep talking. I'm out of things to talk about, but I'm going to keep talking.
I fear it might be someone else. Well,
never mind.
It's in partner with someone else. Someone else.
It's a different person. Never mind.
It is Simone Luciani, though. And
it is.
Someone else.
Gotcha. It's 2021, folks, if you need a reference.
Yeah. Twitter that. A very clever game. You've been to Austria before.
And it's sometimes these games with really wacky themes.
Yes.
Just hit a home run.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to talk about Scoville eventually.
Yes.
And it's just like, where the heck did that theme come out of? We're going to make some peppers.
I love making peppers. I like making
Sounds
pepper
like
jam,
a point salad.
I think the design is very streamlined.
The dice are great.
The dice, rolling the dice are great.
This does have some similarities with, the other one from...
He's thinking really hard when he pushes his glasses up.
I think it's Stronghold. We had the dice game of it that was not that very good. The No Siesta, but what's...
La Granja?
La Granja, thank you. So it shared a lot of similarities mechanically with that, especially with the way the dice are selected.
Okay. I think that's all I have to say about Grand Austria Hotel.
Right. So we're going to have an honorable mention, because I think you did enjoy what you played of it. There is a game that's going to be in the collection, because review is going up for it very soon.
Yes.
And that is Gettysburg Badges of Courage from Columbia Games by Grant and Tom Dalgleish. Dalgleish. I may have said it many different ways in the review. I'm very sorry about that.
Jeez, Matt.
A very, very good historical war game with fog of war elements to it. If you're big into the Civil War, you will really like the fact that it's a brigade level game, which means you don't have to keep track of too many things happening. But at the same time, you need to have everyone close. You couldn't just push whole hog into the battle. You had to keep your commanders close to your people.
Block system, not chits.
Blocks were very easy to handle.
Very easy rule set, I would say.
It seems like a lot when it's getting explained to you. For me, it was about, I would say, an 8.5 from me, as far as, because I've never had a Gettysburg game that I really liked, and I really liked the Battle of Gettysburg and studying it, and I think this is going to fill in that void for me. But we haven't rated it together yet, so it's not on the list.
We even didn't technically finish even the first day on Monday. There was a lot of interruptions that afternoon. Those
are our G games, everybody. Like and subscribe, because if you want us to complete Gloomhaven, we need to hit 1,000 subscribers.
That's never going to happen. Both, maybe one, or no. We're going to be positive. It's going to happen.
Other videos you can take a look for when we're talking about our road to 1,000. You're going to get to know us a little bit more. I'm actually going to play some music on the pipe organ for everybody. That's what I do for a living. Jen will take you around Mary Chaney Library's board game collection that she lets go out. All sorts of things like that. It's not just all about games here. Jen will eventually do a top 10 book list of some sort. We are the literary gamers after all.
I should do a book review at some point. Although you're seeing a lot of it on Board Game Breakfast, so that's always good. But yes, we always love to see in the comments below what your favorite games are that begin with G's. There's often a really great dialogue going on there. Things that we've never played that you've played, things that we've played that you've never played. So let us know. We'll see you next time, and that's it. I almost said happy breakfast.
Happy breakfast, everybody.
Happy breakfast.